Just north of Hollywood North, in the city of Kamloops, is a company called Mastermind Studios. And when they're not working on productions of their own, they're providing facilities to other productions coming to town. My name's Todd Sullivan.
And I'm Carlos Sia. Today, we're meeting with Peter Cameron Inglis, owner of Mastermind Studios, to find out who they are and what they can do.
They've got everything from offices with high-speed broadband internet to a 3,000 square foot soundstage, plus a little bit of everything in between. So come with me while I meet with Peter to find out more and maybe get a tour just north of Hollywood North. Hi, Peter. Thanks so much for taking the time to sit down with us today.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do here at Mastermind Studios?
Well, there's two pieces to it. Number one, we're a production company. So we produce our own content, like many other filmmakers here in Kamloops. But separate to that, we've created a bit of an ecosystem here to support other independent filmmakers in Kamloops, as well as productions that we're trying to attract to the region. Mm-hmm. So in that ecosystem are services and facilities, equipment rentals, facility rentals, production offices, pre-built sets, various different services in order to help grow the film and television sector in the interior of BC.
So we're going to take a tour of some of the facilities here a little bit later, and before then, maybe just list off a couple of sort of the big facilities that you provide here.
Well, here in the studios, we have basically the whole top floor of 954 Laval Crescent. We have production rental offices. We've got casting and audition stage. We've got hair and makeup and green room space. We've got like the set here for interviews and that type of thing. We've got full live switching with up to 12 cameras. Like streaming services. We've got obviously the thing that we're known for probably the most is a 3,000 square foot sound stage out back. Mm-hmm. And then equipment rentals and things along those lines.
So it seems like you're providing services to sort of a wide variety, like anything from large productions to sort of small independent films.
Yeah, I would say medium productions to small independent filmmakers or individual, like documentary films and that type of thing. It's not just about providing services and supports to big productions coming in. The biggest challenge that the industry has faced traditionally over the last couple of decades is a complaint from the larger sector in British Columbia of a lack of facilities and a lack of crew. Mm-hmm. So on the surface, you can see the facilities, but it's more than that. The reason we support independent filmmakers and put on classes and training programs and provide sort of rental equipment and rental facilities to the local market is to help independent filmmakers such as yourself and some of the other gentlemen in this room be able to create a living, make a living with their passion in filmmaking and support themselves so that we don't have a brain drain, so that we don't lose people that develop their passion, develop their skills in the industry and then leave because there's not enough work here, right? So in order to attract productions here, we need a lot of crew. When we started doing crew training programs and providing services, there were less than a decade ago, there was less than 60 people that were qualified to step on a union set. Now, the database, I don't know how up to date it is, but the database for the Film Commission boasts in excess of 400 people.
Wow.
So that's a pretty big growth in, half a dozen years. And we hope to see it grow much more rapidly now that COVID is over.
Yeah, I was about to ask whether or not that had an impact on your ability to continue training potential crew people and things like that.
Well, we had to eliminate all of the training programs.
Yeah.
We're looking at starting the backup here fairly soon. And we're actually in the process of developing out curriculum for a documentary film school program.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna be making the leap from simple workshops to full, cohorts of people coming in and taking longer programs, not just days but weeks.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And then we'll continue on with the shorter programs as well, workshops and that type of thing. But we need to have ongoing programs in order to have faculty that are getting paid on a regular basis to be able to attract them and keep them here. So that's sort of the next step on that side of the equation. COVID definitely put a damper on everything, slowed us down on that whole thing. In fact, pretty much for 2020, most of the year we were just completely shut down and dark.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until April of last year, April of 21, that we kind of reopened again. And I've been slowly sort of just gradually ramping up and starting to service productions and that type of thing in the hopes that we would get through this ordeal, which it feels like we're getting close.
It does. Can you talk at all about any of the productions that have come through and used your facilities?
Some I can't because of NDA.
Sure.
Others I can't because of restrictions pre-release.
Okay.
We had a couple of television series last year, which was the lion's share of the production days. The lion's share of the production days in the Thompson-Nicola Regional District came from productions that were based here in the studio.
Okay.
We had, I can't talk exact numbers, but between those two television series, there was a significant amount of revenue generated by, locations fees at Thompson Rivers University and 60 some odd locations all over Kamloops, including out at the Dunes, the entire community at the Dunes. So there was a lot of production in and around Kamloops for a good portion of the summer, spring and summer. Most of both of those television series were filmed here. Actually, both of them, I think, if I'm not mistaken, both of them are published, or there was stuff in the news about them. So I can say Gaslight and The Edge of Sleep.
Okay.
The Edge of Sleep was Markiplier. I know maybe some of your audience will know who Markiplier is.
I'm familiar, yeah.
But that was his first made for the small screen debut in that television series called The Edge of Sleep. 95% of it filmed here and then 5% of it filmed down in the Okanagan. We took them down to one of our clients, Summerhill Pyramid Winery, because the series needed a pyramid and to shoot inside a pyramid. So we made that happen down there. And then Gaslight, which is kind of a suspense thriller series, 6-part miniseries, and that filmed here as well. So usually in the past, we've seen productions come and shoot, portions of certain scenes or, even as much as like an episode or a big portion of an episode in the region, and then they would leave and not do an entire production here, just a small piece of a production. Whereas last year we started experiencing do a lot to, our marketing efforts and investing a lot of money in trying to bring productions here. We started to experience independent producers bringing their entire production here and doing the lion's share of it here.
What do you think, or why do you think it is that Kamloops has seen the growth that it has in the film industry?
Why do I think it's been so slow?
Well, yeah, or fast, or whatever your perspective of it is.
There's pros and cons to the interior of BC. We're nice and close to Vancouver. We're only 3 hours away. What we're known for the most part, is that Afghanistan or desert look, right? A lot of people outside of the region aren't necessarily as familiar with all of the other looks, but we've got so many different bioclimatic zones in the region that it makes for a lot of diversity for filmmakers, right? You can base an entire production here because we've got all of these diverse different looks. From the landscapes and those environments that are outdoors, to even things like certain types of households. In certain areas, you're getting that sort of mid-century sort of postmodern home that's, or communities that are mid-century homes.
Yeah.
They're all getting knocked down in other communities, right? But we still have a large number of communities here in Kamloops and the surrounding region that have those older architecture, mid-century homes and even older, that double for, Northern California.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got lots of unique infrastructural architecture, homes, residences, businesses that lend themselves to unique looks, where you could be, in Montana one day, you could be in California another day, and then you could even be in the Highlands of Scotland, all within a 10, 15-minute drive of Kamloops, right? I say Scotland because we even have now our own Edwardian castle that has been built on the outside of Kamloops. So there's, like I said, there's all these unique and interesting looks that lend themselves to doubling for other parts of the world without you having to go through the expense of all that extra travel and riding everybody with you.
Why go there, and then there, and then there, and then here? You can just do it all right there, right?
Exactly. So we've got the advantages of all those unique looks. The challenge is getting the word out so that people start to understand what is here and not just base the assumption of the look that they're traditionally used to seeing coming from Kamloops. That Afghanistan or desert look is all that we have to offer. We have to offer far more than that. But the industry leaders up until now have focused on marketing that side of what our region has to offer and promoting that to the film industry. And we, in the last couple of years, have tried to diversify that and try to get out the word that we have much, much more to offer, including the facilities and an expansion of local crew and things like that. So, it's taken a lot of time. It takes time to build those resources. There's a cost to it. And there's a time allotment to it, to build up these resources. So that's part of what's taken so much time, like a decade to kind of start to see this growth. But I'm hoping that we're now on a more of a faster path to where we want to be another decade from now.
So outside of those, seeing an increase in the utilization of some of those resources, are there any other things that you hope to see, in the future of the film industry here in Kamloops?
The one thing that I hope to see more of is a lot more collaboration. I don't know why, but things are slow. People are slow to collaborate, both on a local level as well as regionally. I believe that the film industry for our local region could be one of the 3 top economic drivers for the region. You only have to take a look at the numbers to realize, at a provincial level, to realize that this industry is huge. It is a major economic driver for the province, but our region has not had a large enough commitment from the community, from the leaders within the community, to open up those doors and to bring a big chunk of that out of the Lower Mainland and into the interior of BC.
Gotcha.
So I'm hoping to see that change. I'm hoping to see less siloing, more collaboration, more people wanting to support each other in this move of bringing that industry up. And then from our side, we're working towards building out larger facilities. We're working towards bringing on new technology and expanding the resources that we have here as we continue to strive to, create new films and new concepts in films ourselves, as well as to support, various different filmmakers that have said it'd be great if we had this, it'd be great if we had that. So we're listening and trying to continue to improve and service those that are looking for what we can potentially offer.
Right. Fantastic. So why don't you give us a little look around the facilities here?
Sure, sounds good. Well, as we look around this space here, this is what we generally use as an interview set. Some people use it for podcasting, like video podcasting. We've used it as a sort of a live streamed training venue for people through Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or other various streaming platforms as a kind of setup for that. We've had tables in here with 5 or 6 people. So there's all sorts of different setups that we can do in this space here. It's sort of in the center of our production facility. But let's take a walk through. We'll go back sort of to the reception area, and I can show you around and sort of work our way backwards.
Sounds good.
Okay. So basically out in this area is our production rental office space. So what we have here are production rental offices, as well as a couple of other spaces that support productions that are coming.
Okay.
So our production rental offices are set up so that they're ready to go at a moment's notice. Productions come here, and unlike an average startup business, a production usually doesn't, especially an independent production, usually doesn't have a lot of advance notice. Once they're greenlit, they just go right into pre-production, which means they don't have months and months and months of waiting to set up TELUS or Shaw and get everything in place and rent a facility and that type of thing. So 9 times out of 10, a lot of productions, if we didn't have facilities like this in Kamloops, would be operating out of hotel rooms.
Right.
The challenge with hotel rooms is that the connectivity is very slow. And so if they're trying to upload their dailies or, like lots of heavier footage, they're going to have problems. Right, with that connectivity, and they could be sitting there for days trying to upload 1 day's worth of material.
For sure.
So here in the building, we've got 3 fat pipe fibers coming into the front building, and then we've got 1 fat pipe out in the soundstage. And then on top of the 3 that we have here in this building, from Shaw, from TELUS, and from Rycom, we also have a radio on the roof going over to the community fiber in the city maintenance yard. So we've got lots of backup for data. lots of high bandwidth for data that allows productions to come here. We've got fully furnished offices. They just plug in and they go same day, right? As well as security systems, network copy print center, everything. They get codes for each person, keys for each person. Everything is signed off on and they can be up and running immediately. Then we also have a little hair and makeup department here with a couple of booths for hair and makeup. We can change out the bulbs to whatever temperature of light you're filming in. 4 different production offices that rent out with seating up to 4 or 5 people per office. And then a couple of green room spaces. So this space here, the TVs themselves tune into what's going on with any of the cameras in some of the recording spaces. Or they also have Chromecast where you can just toss stuff up there if you're in a bit of a meeting and that type of thing. Both in the kitchen area, green space, as well as here. And then there's 2 kitchens up here for production office use. This one here and then one on the other end of the building as well. So that kind of covers this space.
Okay.
We also have sort of a common reception area here. We don't use the reception area much, but if a production needs us to have a receptionist in place, we can do that, or they can have someone positioned there as well.
Okay.
So if they're using us for casting and auditions, they might want to have someone there that's bringing people in, sitting them down here, and then they're just brought into casting, do their reads or their sides one at a time. Right? So it's a good kind of waiting space and setup for that.
Okay, let's have a look at the photograph.
We'll walk back into the area that we were in. So this is kind of where we started with the interview.
Yep.
The interview set, and then just down here is our casting and audition stage, our small green screen stage. So in here we've got a small little setup. It's good for a 1 or 2 person kind of interview, but we can do the full body shots as well. So we've got 104-inch paper Sykes in yellow, blue, red, green, white, gray, and black. So they'll pull down and pull out across so that you've got that full zero horizon cyclorama behind you. Soft boxes, CFL soft boxes, we got lots of those. We've also got these Westcott RGBWs for, if you want to do some, set deck from a lighting perspective, or if you want to, do a nice sort of 3-point light kit kind of setup. Got everything here for that. And then, of course, the green screen.
Right.
You can't miss the green screen. But this doubles as sort of a workshop and training environment as well. So like in behind the curtains are whiteboards, so that we're able to use this as a workshop environment and do some training programs and that type of thing here for small groups.
Sure.
So this is our daily use gear room, and we also do our live switching out of here. So we've got this set up right now for a 4-camera setup that it'll do up to 8 here, and then we've got an add-on module that allows us to add more on. It'll also take several camera feeds, several computer feeds. So we can do sort of a live broadcast show.
Yeah.
Works great for like training environment, that type of thing, but also that video podcasting kind of approach, right? Nice. It ties in nicely with the casting and auditions as well for productions that don't necessarily have all of their production team here that are participating in the casting and auditions during the pre-production stage. They might still have people in Vancouver or LA or somewhere else that still want to participate with the casting and auditions. This allows them to do that.
Right.
We can also tie them directly in so that they can do that direct one-on-one through a teleprompter type setup. So we can actually put them on the teleprompter so that the person that is auditioning is looking directly at them, eye to eye, rather than text being there. As a teleprompter, we're using the teleprompter in a different capacity.
Yeah.
Okay, so this here is sort of our table read space, multi-purpose space. You can see we've got blocking down for production that's filming right now, which is sort of a lifestyle documentary project or lifestyle documentary TV series. But the space here doubles for lots of different things. We do training programs in here. Our boardroom is in here, but it doubles as sort of a meeting space, a table read space, rehearsal space for actors, that type of thing. A bullpen. There's another kitchen and a couple of washrooms here on this side as well. Full AV.
Another green screen because you never know.
Well, yeah, the green screens. That's one of the portable ones.
Right.
We've also got skylights all the way around, but we have them blacked out with baffle boards. So that we can control the light in interview type situations and that type of thing. And yeah, it's multi-use space.
Very nice.
So this is the sound stage. It starts with easy access. We've got a full 10 by 10 drive-through, road level access door. Okay. The sound stage, the reason it's called the sound stage is because it's soundproof from the outside environment. So you'll see here that it's basically a box inside a box with the airspace in between the outside of the building and the inside of the building. All the drywall on the inside of the building is on floating channel to isolate the vibration. And then there's Roxol 30 in the walls. And then there's airspace before you get to the outside wall. Right? So it allows for that isolation of the outside sound from the inside sound. And then we have a sound treatment that gets hung up and that type of thing when you're filming inside here to dampen some of the echo that we've got in here right now. A little bit of slack.
Yeah.
And then once it's all buttoned up, we've got access to a nice 3,000 square foot sound stage. What we generally do in here is one of two types of operations. Number one is building out a set. Where we'll, do box truss and set up, rig out lighting and that type of thing, and then build out with our theater flats and set jacks, whatever kind of set that they want. Usually it's a 3-wall type set, so that you're leaving one wall completely open. Sometimes it's a couple of 2-wall sets, one in that corner, one in that corner.
Okay.
That way you can be standing in one set, shooting into another, and not have to disassemble the set to get the second set.
Yeah.
Or we'll be shooting large format green screen. Again, hooking up trussing and lighting, specifically for the green screen and for lighting the subjects. And then we also have skids that we lay out on the floor that are green screen skids with a curved kind of cloth sight system that goes in to cut the corners out if it's needed. The floor is an anti-vibration sound dampening floor, which also is kind of handy if you drop lighting stands with lights on them and that type of thing. They don't always smash if you're using a floor like this versus it coming crashing down on concrete.
Yeah.
Right. And then we have full cam lock power, so house power as well as stage power. Isolated separate stage power with power distribution for productions that want to, power up everything. We bought a tiny little area that's set up with washer and dryer for a small production that wants to be able to do their wardrobe work without having to plug quarters in the machines downtown. And then we've got a workshop space and a storage space out back and a couple of sea cans full of set deck and props and various things like that. The ultimate goal with this over the course of the next couple of years, the plan is to build out a couple more sound stages that are larger than this, obviously. This one is about 3,000 square feet. We're looking to actually build out two 20,000 square foot sound stages with 40-foot ceilings instead of the 20-foot that we have here. Okay. And prior to that happening, we'll probably make a move maybe as soon as a year to a year and a half from now to convert this over into a volume stage, which is otherwise known as a video wall stage. What they use for the filming of The Mandalorian and the Boba Fett story and the new Obi-Wan that's coming out. They're all filmed in volumes, which is basically, we started over on that wall. It would come a full semicircle around, basically 20 foot high, 180 foot across. That's basically curved, and it's kind of like a holodeck from Star Trek. Right. Video ceiling, video walls, practical flooring. Right, so it's practical set on the floor, objects in the foreground, whatever your set is, and motion tracking on the cameras with basically the entire virtual set being driven by a game engine, by the Unreal Game Engine.
Oh.
So that's basically what we're eventually going to convert this over to. And we hope that it will be the first small soundstage with a volume video wall system made available specifically for independent productions. Because right now, unless you're a $40 million plus film, you can't get access to a volume. Right? And so the idea here is to give independent filmmakers, such as yourself, access to some pretty groovy technology.
It certainly opens up, the potential for what I could do with a film that was not available before. So,
Absolutely.
very exciting.
That's the goal. And hopefully we get there sooner than later.
Yeah, that's the one.
Thanks, man.
As if no time passed. So
Yeah.
Like we want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Around.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be, we've already kind of talked about this, but I could stand up and then sort of
I still want to
finish
be able
talking
to,
about this.
yeah, because I still want to be able to talk about this while we pull back and see that it's not just this room, right? That it's part of the hallway. That's part of it.
I don't know. That's not even the lens that I'm going to use.
Oh, well, shit.
So, that's why I haven't framed anything yet.
Never mind then.
I thought you were talking about it this way. Like I don't want it in the center. I want to scoot slightly to the left and slightly to the right. I'm like,
Right at the same
what?
time, yeah. We're split it in half.
Yeah.
But something else.
I'm sorry. I was very concerned there.
You keep going.
You're back to the next school where all the cool kids don't want to walk with me.
Rolling.
Rolling. You guys rolling?
Yeah.
I can hear you guys really well in the cans as you leave the building. You go, are they rolling? And we're all like, we're rolling.
Oh, but we couldn't hear it. I had no idea.
Yeah.